that. How are you, Dr. Katrina? And are you a specialist in child mental health?
I'm a psychologist by profession, yes.
So every year this time is Child Protection Week,
Yes, that's right.
and you're focusing today on mental health,
On emotional abuse.
emotional abuse. Okay, I'll let you talk about it.
Have you got questions for me or?
Yeah, there's some questions here. So okay, so I've got some statistics here about it. It is the most Emotional abuse is the most common type of maltreatment, 45 affecting 45,000 and a half children during last year, and only 50% say they would report it. So what is emotional mistreatment? What is it?
So emotional abuse is one of the 5 types of child maltreatment, but it's often unreported or goes unnoticed compared to, say, physical abuse or neglect. And so it's a pattern of behaviours that really impact a child's sense of self-worth and their self-esteem and their well-being across their life. So it is adults constantly, so not just one off, but all the time belittling children or calling them names or swearing at them, yelling at them, withholding love and affection, and threatening them. And so if that happens all the time, it really impacts a child's development and, of course, their sense of self-worth and their sense of self-esteem.
Sure. And what are some of the impacts apart from what you've seen?
So we know that children might be fearful, they might be very worried, they can't trust their caregivers, it impacts how they feel about themselves, and through their life it might mean that they have difficulty making friends and they might disengage from school. They could end up with mental health problems, and certainly we know that they're more than 2 times greater at risk of suicidal ideation and suicide.
What is the youngest age that you're seeing this?
Oh, well, we can see it in very little children. It impacts infants and very young children quite significantly because babies' brains develop in relationships. So their brain develops as part of the relationship with their caregiver. And so if that's a nurturing relationship, then their brains develop well and they learn to speak and run and jump and all those things. But if it's a fearful environment and they have a caregiver that doesn't have that reciprocal relationship with them, then their bodies and their minds don't develop as normal.
And why is it important to raise awareness every year to Australian listeners?
So it's Child Protection Week is an opportunity every year to reflect on the numbers of kids who are maltreated in Australia. So every year it's between about 45 and 50,000 children who are substantiated for abuse, and around 500,000 reports about child abuse in our country, which is way too much. And so Act for Kids this year we're raising awareness about emotional abuse, and we're raising awareness about the number of kids, because if you think about 50,000 children, that's enough children to fill a sporting stadium. And so we have the Stadium of Hope, which is our Child Protection Week campaign this year, because what we want to do is fill a stadium with hope for that 50,000 children. And people can buy virtual tickets in the Stadium of Hope. You can buy a seat for $10 each, or a family of 4 for $40. And we're raising money for all the therapy services that Act for Kids provides for children who've experienced trauma from emotional abuse.
That's Stadium of Hope campaign. And who are the singers? Are there going to be lots of artists?
I'm sorry, I missed that question.
Is there going to be like a lot of singers and artists?
No. It's actually a virtual stadium. So what we want to do is, instead of filling the stadium thinking about people going to watch a football game, it represents the number of children in Australia who've experienced abuse. And so we want people to buy a ticket for $10 to fill a seat with hope. But it's not actually a real event. It's a virtual event.
Okay. And then anything else happening this week for Kids?
Yes, so what we've done to raise awareness about the issue of emotional abuse and help people identify it and prevent it is prepared a tip sheet called Safe Hearts and Minds, and that's on our website, which is actforkids.com.au, and it's for people who work with kids, who live with kids, and helps them understand how to provide nurturing relationships for children and to identify and prevent child emotional abuse. And so that's on our website, which is actforkids.com.au. And people can buy tickets in the virtual Stadium of Hope at stadiumofhope.com.au.
And how long have you been involved with Act for Kids?
This is my 18th year at Act for Kids. I'm very passionate about the work we do. We have teams around the country who work with children and young people and families who have impacted by trauma, and they do an amazing job helping kids heal from trauma, keeping kids safe, and making kids have happy lives.
What are some of the activities for the affected children? Do they have fun days, activities for them as well?
Well, we do have family fun days. We do lots of group programs. We do individual therapy with children. We have speech pathologists, occupational therapists and psychologists and social workers. We help families who are struggling. There's a lot of families struggling at the moment with cost of living and with housing issues and those kinds of things, and a lot of stress and domestic family violence. So we help the families with those problems. We support kids to keep going to school. So all sorts of things we do all around the country.
Amazing. And what's one of the highlights of the 18 years you've been with Act for Kids?
When we count up how many children we've supported over that time, it's hundreds of thousands. So, I feel like we have a great impact. We're supporting a lot of children every year in this country, and we need organisations like Act for Kids and like lots of other organisations to support kids and families.
So, as the CEO, what is your biggest challenge for Act for Kids?
The biggest challenge we have is meeting the demand for our services, which is why we fundraise, so that we can actually deliver more services. So we have more people needing a service, so more children and young people needing a service, and we have capacity to support.
So where are these children and families waiting or getting help in the meantime?
If we can't work with them immediately, we support them to refer them to other organisations, or we hope to get through our waiting list quickly. But other organisations often have waiting lists as well. So there's a dire need in our country for support for kids and young people.
And how much government support is the Act for Kids getting?
We get Queensland government support, but we don't get government support in any other state. So we're in four states: South Australia, Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland. And Queensland is the only state that we get government support for services. And we deliver family support services in Queensland.
Okay. So it's based mainly for the Queensland families?
That support is, yes.
Yeah. And Act for Kids is Australia-wide?
Yes, 4 states, yes.
Okay. Which states are not involved?
Are not involved.
Yeah, not.
Western Australia, Northern Territory and the Australian Capital Territory.
And they have their own support?
Yes, so there's a lot of organisations across the country that provide different supports. It's just that, as a country, we probably need more.
In New South Wales, where is the office?
Not Broadmeadows, Blacktown.
Act for
We're at
Kids.
Broadmeadows in Melbourne.
And what's the number for Blacktown, or just look them up and there'll be a...
On our website. Our website has the list of all of our centres around the country, and so the website is actforkids.com.au.
So is it a first point of call service, or it's more a referral service?
It's more a referral service in other states, and certainly in Sydney.
Yeah.
It's a therapy service, and you do need a referral.
So from your GP.
Yes, or another community agency or school. Yeah.
That's good. So just remind us again, the Stadium of Hope that's on now.
Stadium of Hope campaign is on now. We're hoping to raise awareness about child emotional abuse and the number of children impacted by child maltreatment in Australia. People can buy virtual seats for $10 each, and all the money goes to therapy services delivered by Act for Kids.
And what do you see for the future, for the next 15 years for children with this Child Protection Week and emotional abuse? Do you think things will change in the next 15 years? Is there, or there'll be more issues?
Well, I'm going to choose to be optimistic and say that if we increase everybody's understanding about emotional abuse and we act as a community to reach out and support each other, act with kindness, and model the kinds of behaviours as adults that we want to see in kids and everybody else, that we won't see levels of emotional abuse like this in our community, and certainly for our kids.
And are there any children that have, you've seen after 18 years, have you followed their journeys and seen what great citizens they've become?
Yes, well, there are kids that we can't talk about their names, of course, because of their confidentiality. But yes, and we've actually even had some kids come and work for us as in therapy roles and in family support worker roles themselves, which is wonderful.
And ambassadors, you must have a lot of youth ambassadors as well for the program.
Yes, we have a lot of young people. We seek feedback from young people, kids and young people all the time. And so their voices are included in how we design our programs and in what we offer for kids.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Katrina Lyons. And hopefully next year you'll have raised enough money by then to make more programs and expand the programs.
Thank you. Thank you, Rosh.
Thank you, Dr. Katrina.
Thanks.
Yes.
Sorry about the tech in the beginning.
It worked. Yeah, I've got a YouTube channel, so I'll share this and radio show, the Busy Mums radio show, and I'll get the audio and share that. And because it came through your agency in that it must go to air this week, I'll just slot that into the regular program.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so
much. Thank
much.
you for highlighting such an important issue. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm really happy to work with organizations such as yours, Act for Kids. It'll be on my calendar for next year as well. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.